Today on Over a Coffee, I'm speaking with Alberto Mazzola, the Executive Director of the Community of European Railway and Infrastructure Companies. We talk about the European Year of Rail, the future of train journeys in Europe, and the Connecting Europe Express. Alberto Mazzola, you're very welcome to the Euractiv studio. It's great to have an event in person again.
I'm very happy to join you here.
Yeah, I mean it's obviously been a long time since this was possible, but things seem to be slowly getting better now with the pandemic. I personally have written about how the rail industry has been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. But do you see, as someone who works on a day-to-day basis, do you see any signs of recovery? Are things getting better?
It is getting better. We have been, we lost about 39 billion in commercial revenues since the pandemic, so it's a lot of money on commercial revenues, and we went down to minus 2/3 in terms of traffic. Now we are recovering, we are minus 1/3 on average, still negative, very negative in business terms, but it's improving compared to the beginning of the year.
So if we were to take 2019 as sort of a base level, pre-COVID times, let's say, when do you think the rail sector would be getting back to those type of levels?
It's difficult to foresee. So on freight, I think we get even over. I hope so, and this is what we are aiming at quite soon, hopefully. In terms of on passenger, it's a different situation because we have two types of clients. So the clients, business clients, probably will take very longer and will not get them, maybe all of them. Commuters and also with smart working, they will have some effect. On the other point, in terms of tourism, which is another important part of travelers, I hope that this will get even more than what we had in the past. This is our expectation, at least the railways will be able to capture some more market from other parts of the transport sector.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a big issue at the moment with Fit for 55 and the Green Deal, basically getting people out of the sky and onto the rails. What is the strategy there? I know that the Commission wants to double the amount of passengers on high-speed rail by 2030. How can you convince people to take the train rather than flying?
So first of all, we agree with the Commission on that. And we would like also to make it real. That's an important point because this is my third white paper that I'm seeing. The first two were some nice wording, but this one is a company we are seeing also for investment in railways, and this will change. What do we need to get there? To get high speed and passengers, you need duration of the trip. So less than 4 hours, 4 hours and a half, in order to compete with aviation. We need to have comfort on the train, on the services, and ease to take the train. So the important part here is the infrastructure. The trains will follow, but you need the infrastructure. And if you take the 4 hours, if you go 4 hours at 300 kilometers per hour, you can go 1,200 kilometers. So, and this is how we can capture. Europe is small, so with high speed, we get more. Our ideas, what is it? We would like to see a high-speed connection, connecting all capitals, European capitals, and major cities. This will probably change completely the landscape in transport, in European transport. And I've seen that where high speed is operational, Madrid, Barcelona, Milan, Rome, Paris, Lyon, Munich, Berlin, everybody's taking the train, and everybody's asking more train.
Well, another issue in terms of sustainability is getting freight off of roads and onto rails. This is also something that can contribute significantly to lowering carbon emissions. I believe the Commission wants to double rail freight. How do you see that going?
Freight has been liberalized more than 15 years now, so there is strong competition among rail freight companies, but this is not enough. What we need here also, we need infrastructure for freight. Infrastructure is the basic for railways, And we need also level playing field with the road in particular. This is why 50 or 55 is important for us. We had some, technically speaking, Eurovignette, how to apply charges, road charges to trucks, and was the result we achieved, it has been achieved is moderate. 50 or 55, it's an important piece, so ETS for road will be an important element to be evaluated, to get a level playing field among the two modes of transport. We see now that everybody is taking more attention to CO2, to emissions. It was not the case 10 years ago, it was not the case 20 years ago. And thanks to this, there is very high expectation on railways. So high expectation, high potential, but we need a level playing field. We will publish very soon a study done by our Swiss colleagues with the Polytechnic of Zurich, and where we show the results. If you apply 60% of the external cost to road, you get to 60-70% of modal share to freight, to rail. That's really very high. But we need to have this level playing field.
It's interesting you talk about this level playing field. One of the things that happened during the pandemic is obviously we saw every transport industry affected, and this led, especially in the aviation industry, to bailouts, essentially, in different formats. But I think you can use the word bailouts. Did rail see the same government support, bailouts during the pandemic?
We had similar losses. So aviation lost, airlines lost, we lost 39 billion so far. Aviation lost a bit more, but not maybe 10% more. But aviation got 500% more support than rail.
Wow.
And this is something we need to reflect also. We are discussing with the Commission and Member State. I was in Poland yesterday in a debate with the Minister of Transport as well as the representative of the Prime Minister. And everywhere we are saying we need to have a balanced support. So I'm not saying that airlines need to be bailed out. They are important in certain parts of Europe, very important, peripheral countries and so on. But the level of support they got was much higher than rail.
Well, one of the things that the Commission has done to support rail is to announce 2021 as the European Year of Rail, of course. I know that the aim was to put the spotlight on the benefits of traveling by train, but of course at the start of this year, things were very much like during 2020. I mean, now things, as we've discussed, are getting a bit better, but at the start of the year it was different. How has it been having the European Year of Rail as 2021? Has it been difficult when the pandemic is still ongoing?
Yeah, the plans had to be changed. As you can imagine, we had different plans when we were reflecting at the European Year of Rail before pre-COVID. I give you just a small example. One of the ideas we had is to go to the film festival of Cannes, Venice, and Berlin and promote railways. Okay. This could not be possible, of course. So we had to change a bit our plans. The first 6 months had been difficult. We wanted to organize a train around Europe, connecting all the cities of Europe, from Lisbon to Paris. We have done it. We postponed. It was planned in June. We postponed. It's now running in Europe. So it is today in the Baltic state. So we have a train in the Baltic state and a train connecting from Poland in Białystok at the border with Lithuania and Poland. So the train is running well. I was on the train in many parts of Europe, and very good reception from the political stakeholders. But due to COVID, we have less people that can greet the train.
Of course, yeah. So this is the Connecting Europe Express?
Yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've read about it, I know a bit about it, but for those who don't, how would you describe the Connecting Europe Express?
It's, let's say, we have two angles here. Mm-hmm. The Connecting Europe Express is a very good cooperation among all European railways. We have been able to launch this train, we are able to run the train all around Europe. In reality, there are 3 trains due to the different gauges. So one Iberian, Portugal and Spain, one let's call Continental Europe, practically all Europe except the Baltic states where they still have the Russian gauge. Okay. So we have 3 trains that are running and connecting at the borders between France and Spain, between Lithuania and Poland. The train is covering all capitals, except that we don't go to Ireland, we don't go to Finland, and we don't go to Cyprus and Malta. They don't have railways in this case. But we went to the Balkans, North Macedonia, Serbia. We will go to Switzerland. So we are touching also other countries that are connected. It's going well. It's showing that railways can connect Europe. So many people are thinking, can we do it as an interrail? Not yet. I mean, it's what we are doing is 20,000 kilometers around Europe and touching all countries. On the other way, this is showing also some problems, particularly in terms of interoperability, where we need to move some steps forward in order to have trains running easily everywhere in Europe. We still have problems in interoperability and technical problems to be solved, to have a train being able to run without problems all around.
Yeah, I mean, there was also a lot of push, especially from the EPP group, to have next year the European Year of Aviation, but in the end it wasn't the transport mode, it was the European Year of Youth. But as you say, I mean, there's a big connection between young people and rail. One of the things that comes to mind is the Commission's decision to grant, I think, 60,000 young people an interrailing pass for free. I mean, what do you think the impact of these type of initiatives are?
That's a very good initiative. That's my personal opinion, but the opinion of railways, all railways. And we would like to go even further. So discovery use is very good, but in some books you read that Europe was constructed by Interrail too. And I think Interrail helped constructing European, at least European people having European people. Whatever are we proposing? We would like to see that every European that turns 18 years old receive an Interrail or a discovery year. This would be a very good sign that you are European.
Every 18?
Every. And it should be maybe the mayor of your city, together with the stamp of the European Commission, the European Union, receiving a letter, you have right, now that you are 18 years old, to have an Interrail pass, and this is Europe. So I hope that we manage to go there.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, I did Interrailing myself when I was younger, and I would have loved to have a free pass, but it sounds like a great initiative. Another thing then is, I mean, we've talked about young people and we've talked about young people in rail, but also I want to talk about careers and especially getting more women involved in the rail sector. I've seen a discussion from your organization, an event, which was about careers in rail. How do you think more women can be encouraged to join the rail sector?
Thank you. That's an important point. And we have been reflecting inside the Association of Empowered Railway Companies. And many of our members are already active, I would say, developing policies how to attract more women. We don't have enough women in railways at the moment for many reasons. One of the reasons is that technical schools, so the choice between technical schools or not, and many of our, especially in the technical field, people are coming from technical schools. And what we did, we just approved 2 days ago in our General Assembly a proposal of agreement with trade unions at European level between our association and the European Trade Union Association that we would like to promote more women in rail. We defined all the conditions, how to hire, how to, I would say, have representation of women at all different levels inside the company, as well as the problems that women find sometimes in companies, especially in railways, sometimes also technical problems, including also any problem concerning sexual harassment and so on. Mm-hmm. Getting on the part how to attract more, I think we need to get closer to university, to schools, to promote the idea of railways and so on. In the young people, we see that there is attention to railways, much more attention. I can tell you also from my personal experience, I have 2 daughters, and my 2 daughters are looking at trains, are not looking at cars. I don't know if it is for the father or not. But anyway, they are doing this, and I'm not pushing them. So I think we have more attention, but we need to increase, and it's important. It's 50% of the world, so that's important for railways. And we are seeing progress in attracting more women, but we need to do more.
Mm-hmm. Well, you obviously had a career in the rail sector. How did you, I mean, was it always a passion of yours, trains, or how did you end up moving towards the rail sector?
I joined railways 20 years ago. when I joined Railways at that moment, I joined the Italian Railways, and we had a restructuring story at the moment. We were, I would say, 30 years ago, Italian Railways, there were 220,000 people. When I joined, there were 120,000 people. So a huge reduction in terms of numbers and increase in terms of performances. We still had difficulties at that moment. We had a restructuring plan that we reduced even further, but we increased also, we developed the high speed in Italy. Particularly, we were discussing high speed before. And this has been a big change. Let's say, I don't know, I was quoting before Florence, that after we developed it, we had a lot of requests from other parts of Italy. Now it's connecting Turin, Milan, Florence, Rome, Naples, and Salerno, plus going to Venice very soon. But there are requests everywhere to get these services. And the recovery plan of the European Union, for instance, will develop more lines, high-speed lines. This is going on everywhere in Europe. My personal experience, I participated to this restructuring effort. It has been a big result. Almost went bankrupt when I joined, so it was sort of kind of small or big Alitalia, let's say. But now the company became very, I would say, pre-COVID. Pre-COVID was really financially very well performing, very financial indicators, and in terms of transport or revenues and passengers, very high level of satisfaction.
Well, looking to the future of rail, I mean, you've said that there's a need for more infrastructure for high speed. There's also a shift towards digitalization, automation. How do you see this playing out?
That's an important point. We were discussing about connecting Europe Express before and the difficulties that we are facing in terms of interoperability. What we are pleading now is to have a single system in Europe for control command. Technically, ERTMS is called European Rail Traffic Management System. This is the basis, and I think we will achieve in the next 10 years, hopefully. We are pushing a lot also with European institutions. On this basis, we will develop more. For instance, automatic train operations, coupling, digital coupling of wagons, and so on. That will be an important point for freight in particular to increase performances. But we are also thinking in terms of ease of use of the train, so ticketing, access, being able to see all your connection, being informed if it is a delay, and increase also international passenger services. For this, it will be important that we have, I would say, a better offer, digital offer to all the possible potential passengers.
So if we were to look, let's just say then, if we were to look forward to 2030 or 2050 even, what do you see, how will rail look in the future?
If we manage to get the infrastructure, that's a key point. I'm always repeating the infrastructure because this is the basis. If we manage to get the infrastructure we are saying, so connecting all the high speed, all the European capitals and major cities, you will see, I think, 90% of the people traveling by train instead, and a lot of more connections. People for touristic reasons, but not only for touristic reasons, for business, connecting by train, going around. And on freight, here, if we get the digital, freight will be much more better performing, and let's hope that most of the traffic goes on freight, on rail freight. So less trucks, easier also to drive or go around in the cities and on the highways. That will be a big change for us. Of course, longer trains. I think, as I said, and probably everybody is realizing now that there are high expectations on railways in Europe. The Green Deal, the CO2 crisis, the climate request, and so on. There is high expectations. If we get our investment on infrastructure, this should be public investment, it must be clear. Then rail companies can develop rolling stock, invest in rolling stock, in new wagons, coaches, and you will get much better services also. So we are confident.
Yeah, sounds like it. Well, Alberto, thank you so much for sharing a coffee with me.
Thank you, Sean, for interesting conversation.
Thank you.